Hello and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today I'm going to talk to you about the signs of NPK deficiency and toxicity. I do have some videos on NPK. I will link below to any videos I mention in this video, as well as any related videos that would be helpful for you. So as mentioned, I'm going to talk about the signs of NPK deficiency and toxicity today. So first of all, plants need nutrients for growth and production. There are 17 elements essential for plant growth. They come in two categories, the nutrients do: macronutrients and micronutrients. Today I'm going to talk about the big three. Those are the ones you see on fertilizer bags and bottles in the form of three numbers. So it'll be like 555, 10 10 10, 20 20 20, 333, 378, etc. And that is the NPK, and it stands for nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those three macronutrients are needed in large quantities by plants. And the micronutrients are needed in smaller quantities. So they are called macronutrients because they're needed in larger quantities. So plants need the right balance of nutrients for growth. If there's a deficiency of any of the essential elements, any of those 17, plants can't complete their vegetative or reproductive cycles, and that will result in deficiency symptoms, and different things will go wrong with the plant. Generally speaking, those nutrient deficiencies are represented in the leaves. So I'm going to talk to you, as mentioned, about some of the signs of deficiencies and some signs of toxicity. So by toxicity, I mean too much. And that usually comes from too much fertilizer. So nitrogen. Okay, so nitrogen is what greens up plants. It makes plants healthy, like this plant here, this Ficus benjamina here. You can see it has nice green leaves. It looks really nice. It's growing nicely. So nitrogen is needed by plants. And if there isn't enough, if there's a deficiency, you're going to have stunted growth, restricted growth. So some of things may look like they're starting to grow, but then they sort of aren't growing, and they're not really growing that great. They will also get yellowy, especially the older leaves. The older leaves will get yellowed first, and then the younger leaves will too. And that is a sign of the nitrogen deficiency. And also the older leaves may fall off earlier than usual. So say you have a plant and you think all of a sudden, why is this plant dropping leaves so much more than it used to? The leaves are yellowing and dropping off. Those are all signs of a nitrogen deficiency, that the plant needs nitrogen. Nitrogen is the nutrient that plants use up the most and quickest. That is the one that you will generally be giving plants more of than anything else. However, like anything, you can overdo nitrogen. So plants that have had too much nitrogen, they will get a very, very, very deep green in color, especially if their normal color, the normal color of the leaf, is a lighter green. So that's an indication they're getting a little too much there. This plant is supposed to be this color, but there are plants, if you have a plant and you've been fertilizing and you see that the leaves all of a sudden are very, very green, and they used to be a different sort of a green, that could be a sign of too much nitrogen. Also the stunting of growth, because what's happening is they're just getting too much and it's messing up their whole system and they won't grow. You would think that if the more you give them, the more they're going to grow, but you get to a tipping point where you're giving them too much. Too much nitrogen will also cause buds to fall off. So if you have like a flowering plant, a fruiting plant, the buds will just fall off. And you may even get lesions, if it's really bad, lesions on the stems and the leaves, and some browning in the stems and along the stem and roots as well. So If you see any of these sorts of symptoms, you've been fertilizing a lot, especially if you've been using chemical fertilizers. The chemical fertilizers, I have lots of videos on them and why you want to use organic fertilizers, but for the most part, anything over a 10-10-10 is on the NPK is a chemical fertilizer, and those are very strong, and they are much more likely than organic fertilizers to give your plants too much nitrogen and too much phosphorus and potassium as well. I'm going to talk about signs of not enough phosphorus now. So when there's not enough phosphorus, you're going to get stunted growth. There's going to be a purpley kind of color on older leaves in some plants. There's going to be a dark green sort of coloration, discolorations on some of the leaves as well. You're going to have delayed maturity of the plant, so actually delayed maturity of any flowers and fruit, and also you're going to have a problem getting the plant to flower because the phosphorus helps with flowering. So if you have a plant that was flowering really well and now all of a sudden it won't flower, it could be a phosphorus deficiency. Okay, excess phosphorus. What will happen, interestingly, remember at the beginning of this, I told you how the 17 essential elements are used, so the micronutrients and the macronutrients are all used by the plant really in concert, that when it's all working well is very well tuned, okay? So what happens when you don't have enough of something, everything else is thrown off. So when you don't have enough phosphorus, when you have too much phosphorus, then what happens is the plant will have a deficiency in iron and zinc, and they cause their own problems. So that's why it's so important to not have too much, but to have enough of phosphorus as well. Okay, potassium, the last one in the NPK here. Now, when you have a potassium deficiency, the leaf margins are going to they will become discolored in the plant. And you're also going to get tip and marginal burning. So the tip, the brown leaf tip. Now, I have lots of videos on brown leaf tips. That can be a lot of times from other things. But say you've ruled out things like low humidity and watering problems and pH problems, then it could be that you are just low in potassium, that the plant is low in potassium. All of this leaf burning, tip burning, etc., will start on more mature leaves first, and the lower leaves will also yellow. So those are some signs, things that'll happen with lack of potassium. And also you're going to get weakened growth and a slow growth. So if a plant slows down and doesn't look all that great. Now, of course, it could be one of the other macronutrients as well. Good news is a complete fertilizer, what they call a complete fertilizer, has NPK. It has a balance of NPK. So when you use a fertilizer, if you've determined it's a deficiency, you're covering your bases there. So there you go. Another reason why everything has to be nice and balanced. You need to give just enough fertilizer, not too much. I do have a playlist on fertilizing as well. I will link that as well. So there you go for signs of NPK deficiencies and toxicities. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.